We've got lots with this car race already, so we've got the car moving along the track and everything, slowing down with different surfaces. Now we're going to look at lap and timers. So we need to first make a timer. So in a program, we're going to need a bit of space. We're going to make a new function, a new block. So if we look here, we're going to create a new block, price, and we're going to call it timer. So we're going to put it over here, and we're going to need a variable. This is the thing that's going to count it up. Now, the great thing about variables in Scratch is that we can make them appear on the screen. So just by ticking I'm going to make a new variable, call it timer, and I want to make it for this sprite only. But if we tick it, like it's ticked here, you can see it's up there, which makes life a lot easier for us. We don't have to make another function or whatever to make it so that it appears on the screen. We've already got it there, much easier. So we've got that. Now, what I want to do is when the timer is start run, I want to set the timer to 0. So that's setting it back, resetting the clock, and then I want to put in a forever loop. Now there's multiple ways you can do it, but I like doing it as a forever loop, and I'm going to have a wait in there. So, and then within this forever loop, I'm going to have it change timer by 1. Now, all this is doing is every second it's going to count up by 1. Now, I don't like doing it as 1 second because that does mean that, half a second, whatever, is different. So I'm going to put as wait as a 0.2 and counting up by 0.2. That way, if you can do less than a second or half a second, then that really works. It also views much better visually so that you can see it going up a lot better. So I'm going to change this to wait 0.2 seconds, change timer by 0.2. Now let's quickly test it out. We'll press play. And this is car type 1. And we're not actually running timer yet. We've made a function that does it, but we're not running it anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do under events, we're going to make a new event. So event, sorry, not sound. I'm going to make when I receive a message. I'm going to make a new message called race starts. So when I get the race starts, I'm going to run timer. Now, why didn't I just put it in there within that block we function? Why didn't I just do that all in one? Well, we're going to use that when race starts for a couple of things, and this just makes things easy for us to read it and view it again later. You could just put that all underneath there because we're only using that for this one point. But as I said in the start, you sometimes like having functions with names so that we understand what it's for. So it's sort of commenting and telling the user what it does. Because saying this is a timer, I understand what it's for. If it's just when the race starts, it does all these things, you can look at it and go, I have no idea what this is for. So that's why we have it. I've named it as its own separate block or function. So runs timer. I'm going to do another one. Now, we don't just use the same one, because when it goes in here, I'll run this. See how this is highlighted on the outside? That shows that's running. But this isn't running anymore, because when it goes here, it jumps across to this point. And as it's in a forever loop, it will never exit it and go to the next point here. So this is really important. Now, I'm going to stop for a second because I'm going to just make things a bit easier. I'm going to just put these when the flag goes. Just for now, we're going to do the race starts later. Now, I'm going to press play to see what happens. See, the timer's going straight away. It's working, but we don't want it to do that. So we need to put it in there so that it will only start when this bit happens. So that's why we have the message. That's why messages are really good, because we can start a thing when we want to. So when race starts, we'll do the timer, and when race starts, we're going to do something else down here, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now we need to actually set race starts. So where can we get race starting? I think what we can do is after we reset, after we've just selected the car, we can broadcast race starts there. So if we broadcast race starts, that means everything that has here down the bottom, once that's done, the race will start. So let's go back to the code we had before. Here we go. Let's test it out. We'll press flag. The timer isn't changing, which is just what we want. Okay, type 1. Now the timer is changing. That's working exactly how I want. Now, we're going to look at doing laps. Oh, sorry, stop. Now, the way you do it, a lap is that it goes up, around, and down. Now, the way I would ideally do it is I would have a few invisible checkpoints around the map. Now, these would be long lines that go across the track, and you'd have to have touched every single checkpoint for the lap number to change when you go across. That's a lot of work. I am not going to do this. So we're going to start off. We can just make sure that it starts when it's on the start line. So this is the. Oh, just stop that. I was just using my other one I'm looking at. We can make sure that the car starts on the flag. So our little setup car, not setup, sorry. Go to start. Go to start race. If I want to make it still on the flag, so I'm going to make it minus 25. Let's test this out. Perfect. That's much, much better. So it's touching there. The reason I want it touching is because we're going to use this. We're going to use wait until. This is saying that, and when something happens, then we'll continue. But until then, we're just going to stay here. And I'm going to say wait until not. And under sensors, touching. So when it's going to, this is a little wait. Until it's no longer touching the start line, it's not going to progress further in this code. That's fine. And then, so that means that it's going to have to go past the start line. And now I'm going to put another wait. Sorry, events, no, control. Sometimes hard to know them all. Wait until touching start line. And we're going to make a new variable. Make a variable laps of 3. Now definitely make it for the sprite only, because then it says car 1 laps of 3. Fantastic. And I've got 0. So I'm going to wait until then. Then I'm going to set laps of 3 to 1. Might want to set laps of 3 to 0 as well at the start. That would help too. And then we're going to do this bit again. Now I could change it by 1, but I think it's just, we're going to just set it to the number. So 2, and one more time. We could use change instead of set. In fact, I'm going to change this to change. change laps of 3 by 1. So I'm going to start by setting it to 0, and then I'm going to change it by 1. I was thinking of having it as set as, but if we do change, then it makes it much easier for us to do more laps. We could also do a loop here. Instead of doing it 3 times, actually let's make it a loop. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. We're going to make it a loop. So I want to do repeat until. Now we're going to repeat until it is equal to something. Something is equal. So if we put in laps of 3 there equals 3. So it's going to keep on doing these little things until it's done 3. Let's test that out. Alright, car type 1. The time is moving. I'm going to go back around. And I'm cheating here. Yes, you can cheat. Very good. That works. What I'm going to do afterwards is a sound. Yeah, I just want to play a little cheer. If I click record, oh no, we don't record. But if we go back, so if we put it, let's play sound there. Click down here. We can click over here to change the sounds. Now we don't want pop, but if we go here, we can look for the sounds. Cheer. There we go. I like this one better. You can use whichever one you want or any other sound. Now it's there and I can do cheer. And at the very end, I want it to stop all. And that stops all code. Always save and test it out again. Car type 1, go around lap 2, lap, and as soon as the cheering stops, the game stops. So we've got it doing a lazy way of doing laps. As I said, the better way would be to have checkpoints across wherever the road is that the car has to touch to continue. But if we don't tell the gamers, the people playing the game, I think it's intuitively people won't know how to cheat here. It's my guess, it's my hope, but if someone learns how to cheat, then we need to make the game a bit better so they can't. Now I've got one more video after this I want to do, and that video will be how to do menus and all those pretty things to make it look really nice for the user.